expand your consciousness beyond the psychical. L. Jordan. Third edition free bonus inside this book, copyright 2015, copyright 2. Text copyright reserved. L. Jordan. The contents of this book may not be reproduced, duplicated, or transmitted without direct written permission from the author. Disclaimer: all attempts have been made by the author to provide factual and accurate content. No responsibility will be taken by the author for any damages caused by misuse of the content described in this book. The content of this book has been derived from various sources. Please consult a licensed professional before attempting any techniques outlined in this book. 3. Table of Contents. Introduction. Chapter 1. What exactly is astral projection? Chapter 2. The basics of astral projection. Chapter 3. Preparing for astral projection and travel. Chapter 4. Astral projection feels like a dream, but is it? Chapter 5. Understanding the different planes that make up the human nature. Chapter 6. Easiest techniques for astral projection. Chapter 7. Apt preparation for astral projection. Chapter 8. Who qualifies for astral projection? Chapter 9. Universally accepted techniques of astral projection. Chapter 10. Other techniques applicable in OB. Chapter 11. What is the normal timing for astral projection? Chapter 12. Rumor has it astral projection is risky. Is it? Chapter 13. Is the astral plane heavenly, or does danger loom? Chapter 14. Have scientists at last seen the astral light? Chapter 15. Technology-aided astral projection. Conclusion bonus. Introduction. Chances are that you have heard of astral projection. But the kind of astral projection many people have in mind is one where you see those unreachable glittering spots in the solar system, the stars. Yes, you will see the shining stars if you project your eyes upwards, but that is not what we are about today. Today is about astral projection that allows you to leave your body when you are still breathing and 100% fine. You depart from your physical body and tour another world where nothing can be touched with physical hands despite being clearly seen. Even you cannot be touched or harmed once in this realm. In short, you will learn from this book that you exist on different planes, and for that matter, your life does not come to an end when your physical body ceases to exist. You can ascertain that through astral projection because you will be able to leave your body and meet other beings that are not physical but spiritual, the same way you are when you enter the astral plane. This book also points out cases showing that astral projection is gaining credence even among scientists. Much as they rely on physical observation and quantification of results, experiences among fellow scientists have renewed interest in exploring this area of study, with a view to establishing the reality of life on other planes other than the physical. It is also clear now that there is credence in what ancient cultures believed to be the association between sounds and energy. As you will see from this book, different sound notes help to boost certain energies, hence enhancing the working of individual chakras. Of course, you will get to learn what chakras really are and how they work towards your success in astral projection. This book introduces to you simple techniques that prepare you for astral travel, techniques that make projection into the spiritual world one enjoyable experience that is free of fear. You will be amazed that you can do what mystics have always done like it was magic. Go on, pick a technique of your choice, or better still, try them all and see which one best suits you. Happy reading and all the best in trying out the techniques of astral projection. 6. 7. Chapter 1. What exactly is astral projection? Do you know of terminologies that are not easily described in a couple of words, yet you will not term them as complex as rocket science? Well, astral projection is one of them. For starters, the most direct definition of it is an out-of-body experience, commonly termed OB. And of course, when you hear of the word experience, you get to understand why the definition for astral projection cannot be done in a simplistic manner. Experiences can be detailed and varied even for people in the same environment. The experience alluded to here is your and my experience, the experience of each individual when it comes to visualizing yourself from a different perspective, a viewpoint that is not ordinary as you are not in a bodily state at the time of observing yourself. In short, you are another being that you cannot touch at all, and looking at your bodily self lying down or busy doing other things. It is like you are in Wonderland. Remember Alice in Wonderland? So you are a liberal non-physical being, traversing wherever you want, without the inhibition of walls, doors, streams, anything physical. Now, could this be your spirit hovering about after you are dead? Oh, no, it is not. Fear not. You are still alive and breathing. Granted, you are in a spiritual state, only you have not yet given up your physical body. Remember, you can see yourself walking the earth like every other being occupying the busy, rugged world. You are essentially an observer of the world you are a part of, only this time you have your double in another form, a spiritual form. And are you sure this astral projection is not a dream? Sure, it isn't. You need to doze off to dream, something you do not need to do to get into astral projection. In fact, with the right skills, you can induce that state of astral projection at any time, any place. And it is nothing like popping a sleeping pill or some tots of high alcohol concentration, just some simple consummate focusing. Simple image of astral projection. 8. Just in case you find your abstract mind getting a little muddled up with the explanation already given, let us try to crystallize the image. You have your physical body. Yes, that is tangibly real, and your spiritual body. That too is easy to appreciate because it is simply your subtle body. Now where you may get lost is the double existence, being in your body, yet having an out-of-body experience. And here is where we bring in the link commonly termed the umbilical cord, to get your physical and your subtle bodies to coexist and communicate even as they part ways. Sorry, but is this like the child's umbilical cord? Well, something like that. In fact, visualize it that way for a vivid picture. However, your umbilical cord here is not made of flesh, and it is not internally tying you to a fetus. It is made of energy, strong energy stream from your chakras, your physical energy points, and it is tying your physical form to your subtle form. Great, but then you have more than one chakra, more than one energy point. How does that work? Sure, that explanation is vital. You cannot afford to complicate the image that is just about to crystallize. Luckily, you do not get to see the 7 chakras in your body scramble for participation. Ordinarily, many people see this umbilical cord as coming from the navel where the conventional umbilical cord emanates from, and that is fine. In any case, just to refresh your mind, or to inform you, the chakra at your navel is the one that contains all the energy relating to extraordinary passions like dreams and fantasies. In fact, it is said to provide a strong bond between you and people that you love. And you know in your astral projection that is usually the category of people that you get to visit. However, there is no rigidity when it comes to the location from where the energy streams emanate. Some people see the umbilical cord as coming directly from the forehead to your subtle body. The reason you will not wish to fault this premise is that the forehead hosts the chakra in charge of imagination, intuition, and understanding of a higher force beyond our simple selves. So, yes, coming from there, the cord cannot be anything but strong in terms of helping the process of astral projection. Anyway, just to be alive to reality, you could have your astral projection when your navel chakra is not at its strongest and the forehead chakra is just 9. In a lull. What happens then is that your umbilical cord, which in metaphysics is dubbed the silver cord, comes directly from the chakra that is strongest at that particular time and links your physical body to your subtle body. Even the sacral chakra is not out of contention. You can have the silver cord coming directly from just a couple of centimeters below your navel from whence flows your sexual energy. What you are going to realize is that once on your astral plane, everything looks and feels real. You experience things as though you were in the real world, only better. In your astral projection, you see things more broadly than you do in your earthly 220 degrees frontal vision. Yeah, you're no chameleon, remember? Yet in your astral projection, you have a whole spherical vision of 360 degrees. At least that is the capability you have. But do you really utilize it? Sometimes no. Since you are so used to looking at one direction, of course with limitation of scope, you tend to restrict yourself to that, even when you are on the astral plane. And it takes practice to learn to exploit your full capability and learn to experience things comprehensively. With practice, you get to appreciate the world without the discouragement of an aching body, an aging body, or anything else physical. And what does that do to you, guess? It makes you one happy person with a positive mindset despite any worldly challenges you may encounter in life. After all, astral projection brings to the fore the fact that there is a higher state of being than the physical. How encouraging! 10. Chapter 2. The Basics of Astral Projection. Everyone is capable of astral projection, but not everyone does experience it. For one, you need to be willing to cross over from the realm of the living where you exist in your physical body to the realm of spiritual existence. As a beginner, there are 3 steps that will help you manage this transition. Those 3 steps include taking off, managing to stay in your lucid state, and being able to remember your experience on the astral plane even when you have resumed your physical state. How to take off. This is the very initial stage, and it is all about relaxation. You need to be fully at ease, not tension in your body. You also need to be relaxed at a mental level. It is difficult to succeed in making an astral journey when you have endless thoughts disturbing your peace. Only when you are fully relaxed will your astral body, the one that also goes by the term psychosoma, be ready to take off. And your relaxed astral body needs to be accompanied by a relaxed energy body, what also goes by the reference energosoma. When it comes to energy flow, do whatever you can to have your energies well distributed. One great way of achieving this is to address the issue of your chakras, those energy fields, which when blocked deter the smooth flow of energy. The reason your energy arena is important is that your energy body is the link between your physical body and your astral body. So, whereas opening chakras is not often mentioned as a prerequisite for astral projection, having your chakras open and your energy well balanced helps your attempt at astral projection. And the converse is true. Blocked chakras can keep your astral body stubbornly attached to your physical body. A case in point is where you think you are relaxed and you even begin to have a sense of flotation in your limbs as well as inside your head. But then you realize you aren't exactly free as your chest is being suppressed by a feeling of heaviness, as if something with a big weight has been placed on. 11. Remaining lucid after takeoff. What would you say lucidity is? Well, it is the state of being awake and conscious, even when you have abandoned your physical existence. Saying that you need to be lucid after takeoff means that you need to be conscious of what is happening around you in the new sphere that you have entered. Do not confuse that with registering what is going on around your physical body. Lucidity is important for you to be able to see things in the astral sphere, and even to be able to interact with other astral bodies. Your lucidity is what will make you have something to bring back in form of memories about your astral travel. Remembering your astral experience. Whatever you see and hear when in your astral body is not registered in your physical brain. Rather, it is recorded by your par brain, the extra-physical brain that operates in your psychosoma or astral body. Hence, for you to be able to personally analyze your out-of-body experience, or even narrate it to anyone, you need to have those memories transferred from your par brain to your physical brain. This memory part is important as not all astral travels are for leisure. There are times you can have an experience of astral projection and come back with useful information from some astral bodies, or even from some friendly spirits. Luckily, there is a way you can rehearse for your astral travel in advance, so that whatever you experience is not just well recorded, but also nicely transferred to your physical brain at the end of your astral journey. Create a phrase or sentence that has useful meaning. Keep the phrase or sentence simple. A good example of such a sentence is, I will be lucid when I conclude my astral journey and I will recall everything on return to. 12. My physical body. Say it aloud to yourself. Say it with energy. Repeat it a number of times, say 5 to 10 times. After you have set your body and mind into a state of relaxation, repeat the phrase to yourself again, still aloud. During your out-of-body experience, make a deliberate effort to note the names of people and places that you see and keep affirming to yourself that you are going to remember them later. What happens on returning to your normal state is that the information regarding your astral experience is transferred from your extra-physical brain to your physical brain. And it helps if you manage to make a deliberate transition yourself from the astral realm to the physical world. In short, having your brain jogged back to reality of the physical world by a siren or an alarm can sabotage your memory. So you need to try and deliberately bring yourself back to your physical existence, all the while keeping your focus on the recall process. Helpful tips as you prepare for an astral experience. Reading material such as this which is contained in this book is a good move because when it is time for you to embark on your astral journey, nothing will really shock or scare you. It is also good to slow down and think about your life as it is as well as the experiences you have gone through. That awareness may help you to make sense of some things that you see in the astral world later on. It is important that you appreciate that each person's astral experience is unique. As such, you need not try and replicate someone else's experiences or experiences that you have read in books. Those other experiences can only help you to prepare for the journey psychologically. 13. Be open to a personal experience. In that regard, do not try and manipulate experiences in the course of your astral journey. You should be calm and relaxed and ready to sail with the tide during your astral travel as long as you are not encountering anything evil. What you see while in the astral world could be very enlightening for you when you return to your physical world still lucid and with vivid memories of that astral experience. You have to have your own astral experience to understand what an astral journey or astral projection really is. It is as simple as when it comes to eating. Can you really tell what it's like to eat meat if you've been vegetarian all through your life? Only if you ultimately eat meat will you be able to tell how meat tastes like. And you can then take someone through the digestive experience and even explain how different it is from when you have consumed vegetables alone. Again, only your personal astral experience can help you make conclusions about your life. Identify a suitable technique. Just because you know someone who succeeded in astral projection using a certain method is not enough for you to go with that particular method. With the choices provided in this book, you should be able to find your own fit. Among the things you need to take into account is your personality. Consider, for example, how creative you are, how rational you are, and even what your preferences are. You may wish to use a technique that has breathing moves or even meditation while someone else may not like it. So consider the techniques at your disposal and then test the waters and see which technique you can handle without feeling anxious. Once you have identified the technique that suits you best, practice it beginning from the first part, its middle part, and its final part. As you will notice as you continue learning the different techniques of astral projection, each one of them takes you through a process. None of them is like a switch where you say, "Let me transition to the astral," and you got there. No. So, do. 14. Master all the stages until you can do them without being too conscious that you are doing them. As a beginner, it is best you keep off those techniques that seem complex and somewhat mystical. They can be discouraging. Another important thing you need to do is to go through a period of practice. 1 month is recommended. During this period, you choose some days in the week when you can practice going for an astral travel using your chosen technique. Whatever day you select, do the astral projection just once. Spread the days of practice as you like, but ensure you have practiced 15 times in that 1 month. By the end of that month, going for astral travels will no longer feel strange or scary to you. Bear positive emotions. Being positive of your impeding journey helps you have a great experience. It also helps in your takeoff stage so that you do not have to struggle to get started. So as much as possible, let yourself be filled with quality thoughts and balanced emotions. Such emotions include confidence, perseverance, self-motivation, persistence, curiosity, and such. The contrasting emotions that you need to avoid include self-doubt, fear, anger, distracting thoughts such as busy thoughts unrelated to your astral journey. Depending on the activities lined up for the day, identify an appropriate time for your astral projection, a time when you feel you can easily relax and guide your thought process accordingly. Choose a suitable environment. First of all, you need to relax, as has already been mentioned before. For that matter, it is important that you choose an appropriate environment for your astral experience. A place with a door, for instance, is great because you can always lock everyone else out to avoid being distracted by in and out movements when you are in the middle of your session. The temperature also needs to be suitable, neither too hot nor too cold, all in a bid to keep you comfortable. 20 degrees Celsius is deemed suitable. And you need to be able to regulate lighting. The ideal place for an 15. Experience in astral projection is one that is dimly lit. This means you can switch off the electric lights and then light a spotlight or light some candles and place them in strategic locations in the room. Do whatever else you need to do to avoid distracting noises. For example, if you have an alarm clock or a mobile phone, they are best switched off or put in silent mode if possible. In fact, if you recall, we mentioned earlier on that it may be difficult for you to remember properly what transpired in the astral arena if you are jolted into the real world by an alarm. Generally, a quiet and comfortable place is recommended if you want to succeed in relaxing and remaining calm all through your experience, and if you want to have your memories from the astral world intact when you resume your physical existence. Note the recommended time. When you are practicing astral projection, it is good to set aside enough time for it so that you do not feel constrained to go through a technique in a rush. At the same time, it is not good to overstretch the period for an astral experience. So, although you are bound to get the hang of it in due course, as a beginner you need to do some timing. Keep your session to a minimum of half an hour and a maximum of 1 hour. Although some people speak of setting an alarm, you need to be alive to the fact that you do not want to be sharply jogged back into the real world. So you may wish to try timing yourself with something like a mobile phone where you can choose some form of music for your alarm. Such an alarm is likely to be friendly to the ear and likely not to negatively affect the transfer of your memories from the extra-physical brain to the physical one. Once you have set your alarm to ring after 1 hour, relax and proceed to do all the steps that your chosen technique avails. Then transition back to the real world carrying back the images and sounds from the astral arena. Sensations that are not physical. As you study different techniques for astral projection, you may be warned about what to expect. However, it is good that you know what to generally. 16. Expect from the time you begin preparing yourself to the time you resume your natural physical existence. Expect to feel sensations that are not physical, some being vibrations, others kind of electric sensations, pressure within your forehead or even at the back of your head, and so on. Do not panic as these sensations are normal before and during the transition period. In fact, they are just warnings, indicators that you are on the right track to astral projection. The sensations actually manifest as your astral body tries to disengage from your physical one. Whatever you feel, it is good to note it down when you return from your astral travels, together with the things that you saw and the interactions that you made. While recording astral experiences is not mandatory, it is good to have such a record to compare with future experiences. From them, you also get to understand your pattern or patterns of transitioning from your physical world to your spiritual world. 17. Chapter 3. Preparing for astral projection and travel. Have you clicked by now that there is a difference between the terms astral projection and astral travel, or do they come across as synonymous? Of course, the two are closely related, but we need to understand them well so that we can get the proper picture in our minds when we are discussing them. After all, they both have everything to do with visualization, mental images as opposed to the physical. Astral projection precedes astral travel in occurrence. This you can understand when we describe astral projection as the skillful act of projecting your entire consciousness away from your physical body and getting it to enter and settle in your astral body. Astral travel, on the other hand, is the art of movement as an astral body. So for your astral body to make astral travels and interact with other astral bodies, you have first to be successful in your astral projection. It is worth pointing out that though the two terms, astral projection and astral travel, may sound kind of mystical, they represent things that anyone is capable of doing. You just need to be sincere about wanting to have an astral experience. The key thing you need to master is concentration. Once you are able to concentrate on whatever step you are taking in the process of astral projection, you can focus on your intended shift from your physical being to astral existence. That is why you need to master the art of meditation. Some helpful meditation tips. Using the four-fold breath. This is a breathing technique used in meditation where you undergo 4 crucial steps. Although this is not the only meditation technique that there is, every other that you find is based on this one. That is why it is so important that you master it. It succeeds in getting you in a stable mood and in a 18. Position to concentrate fully on the mission before you. Here's how you prepare for the meditation session. Wear clothes that are loose-fitting, clothes you feel comfortable, and take a sitting position that you are comfortable in, and one that is unlikely to draw you to sleep. Often people opt to sit someplace flat and with their back upright. Sit within an area that is free from distraction, whether it is from noise or movements. Here are the 4 steps to follow in your meditation. 1. Take 4 seconds to draw air in through your nose. Inhalation 2. Take another good 4 seconds holding that air in, holding your breath 3. Take yet another 4 seconds breathing out the air, still through your nose. Exhalation 4. Suppress further breathing for 4 seconds after that exhalation. Your 1 session is up. Do not fret if you fail to get it right in your first attempt. It gets easier with practice. Remember that in astral projection, relaxation is important, and if you get upset with yourself for not doing your meditation right, you will be sabotaging your own efforts. Just try and ignore everything else and focus strictly on your breathing. And if you get distracted, adopt the attitude of better luck next time, and you try again. For how long should you practice this meditation? Well, the period recommended is 5 minutes, 10 minutes long sessions of meditation. And you're advised to take such a session once every day. Then later, as you become comfortable and proficient in the meditation technique, you can. 19. Prolong your sessions to something like 20 minutes, 30 minutes each. Since you want to succeed fast in mastering this meditation technique, register in your mind the basics, keeping your mind clear of distracting thoughts, ensuring your breathing pattern is regular, and that you are keeping to your set rhythm of breathing. Keep a record of what works for you. It is important to keep a record of what transpired during each meditation session, especially when you are a beginner, because you want to establish the conditions and circumstances that are best suited for you. For example, you need to note in writing the time when you did your meditation, what the weather was like, the kind of clothes you had on, and even the kind of scents that were around you. One thing you need to know is that there are people who are good at astral projection, but they have realized they have trouble meditating in stormy weather. Others just cannot concentrate at certain times of the day. Still others meditate best in the evening and in full moon. You too need to identify what works for you so that you can time your meditation sessions accordingly. Initial steps of astral projection. First of all, you need to master a good breathing technique like the one explained above. Just before you begin your astral projection session, do this meditation for about 10 minutes. Practice energizing your chakras or revitalizing your energy centers. You can consider this another form of meditation. Although there are things that you do without giving much thought to, when you are preparing for an experience in astral projection, there are things you need to consciously do to ensure your chakras are well stimulated. Remember, you need the energy through your chakras flowing well and in a balanced manner if you are to succeed in astral projection. 20. Ways to stimulate your chakras. Regulate your thoughts. Thoughts, just in case you didn't know, come in form of energy. And it does not matter if the thoughts are emotional or just mental, they are connected to your chakras. So whatever thoughts you have do have influence over the way energy flows through your chakras. If you are churning negative thoughts from your mind, you end up being tense and either with energy levels being low or your energy flow being blocked in some areas. Yet you already know that you need to be relaxed when you are preparing for an astral projection. And you need your mind to be alert. Seek some sunlight. Who doesn't know that the sun gives us energy? And not just us as human beings. Every living thing benefits from the sun's natural energy. For you and me, the 7-color spectrum from the sun is what penetrates our bodies to re-energize our different chakras with the respective auras. That is why there is emphasis on you getting some sunshine regularly. And supposing there is no sunshine where you live? That's no problem. Experts reckon a light bulb emitting the full spectrum of colors is good enough. So connect one to a light source and your chakras will be re-energized. Eat different colored foods. The reason for this suggestion is that each color you find in vegetables, fruits, or even flowers is representative of some form of natural energy matching some aura. And you, obviously, need the natural energy in its variety in order that your energies can be balanced. When you have all the necessary energies, there is good balance amongst the different chakras, and you are in a good position to project in an astral way. 21. Do some visualization. This is not something really new, but a form of yoga, where you breathe and meditate as you visualize specific colors. If, for instance, you think a certain chakra is weak, or if you are feeling unwell in particular areas that are associated with a particular chakra, visualize the aura color that goes with that chakra and you will revitalize that chakra. Use healing crystals. Healing crystals are great for boosting your energy. Different crystals emit different energies depending on their layers of crystallization, which are responsible for their specific colors. Just to give you an idea of how helpful crystals are, wearing a moonstone or carrying one with you has been known to heighten your spiritual awareness. And this would be very helpful in a situation where you want to leave your physical existence and traverse the astral arena. Do some color bathing. Here what is recommended is the use of color energy bath products. You essentially use these products to change the color of your bath water, and then you lie in the water and let your body sap up the energies from the water. Remember that water is good at conducting energy, and so whatever energy the bath product introduces into the water ends up merging with your own energy, giving it a good boost and balance. If you are looking forward to being passionate and enthusiastic about your astral experience, you may choose color red for your water. And if your heart is feeling somewhat faint, then what suits you is a green-colored bath product to introduce the green color into your bath water. Then your 4th chakra, which is responsible for your heart's performance, will be opened better and vibrations enhanced. Enjoy some aromatherapy. 22. This simply means using some genuine essential oils. These are actually made of pure essence extracted from plants and sometimes flowers. You are supposed to mix a little of your chosen essential oil with some carrier oil before you use it. Often, however, people use essential oils in baths. And you are advised not to apply an essential oil directly onto your skin without first diluting it with a carrier oil, otherwise you could suffer irritation. Carrier oils, just to refresh your memory in case you need it, are oils extracted from kernels, nuts, or even seeds. They themselves may be therapeutic too, but our purpose here, we are more concerned with their role as carriers of the energy-boosting essential oils. You can use music and even dance. Yes, you can dance your way into relaxation and into enthusiasm and energy. One thing you need to know is that every music note is associated with a certain color, and as you know, different colors correspond to different chakras. There are some music notes you can play and find yourself emotionally stimulated. Other music notes stimulate you mentally, while others stimulate you physically. For instance, just listening to primal music or dancing to it, like music with drum beats, ends up energizing you physically. Such music is associated with your 1st chakra, the root chakra. And the root chakra, the one found at the base of your spine, is in charge of your physical energy and your stability. It is also the one that enhances your strong will. Of course, you need to be strong-willed to succeed in astral projection. Otherwise, you'll give up after a few attempts if you don't succeed right away. Mastering the art of toning sounds. Here, think in terms of surrounding yourself with nice, cool sounds. Whether these are musical sounds or others, the idea is to overwhelm any distracting sounds that may penetrate your area of meditation or the place that you have chosen for your astral projection. You can even make vocal sounds of your own that vibrate at a common frequency with particular parts of your body. This is all in a bid to tone those organs so that they can work optimally. 23. And there is surely a lot more you could do to stimulate your chakras, including using color filters to tone your body, energizing water with solar energy from direct rays of the sun, use of therapeutic eyeglasses, selecting colored decor for use in your room, choosing clothing that improves your mood and makes you feel energized, and surrounding yourself with colorful art. Get your astral energy flowing. At this juncture, you have done your basic meditation and your body is ready to move to the next level, that one of letting go of your astral body. It is now time to go to the next level in meditation, where your consciousness is now on your astral energies, trying to help your astral body take off and venture into the astral realm of existence. Embark on astral projecting. This is the stage that marks your ultimate success at astral projection. Here, you let your astral body loose and you move to wherever it takes you. You are now at the point where you can see yourself as a separate being, either laying the way you are on the bed or wherever you may be, or even doing different things as your astral body observes. 24. Chapter 4. Astral projection feels like a dream. But is it? Astral projection does really feel like a dream, doesn't it? You being physically immobile and mute, yet you're seeing yourself walking or driving and chatting with people you know in real life. It does really feel like you're dreaming. But are you really in a dream state? The answer is no. Dreaming is dreaming and astral projection is what it is. For one, when you are dreaming, you are on the dream plane, but when you are experiencing an astral projection, you are on the astral plane. You see, in your mind, you have different planes, some higher and some lower than others. Each of the planes is made up of different material or content, and where the content is shared, you have different ways that the stuff is organized on the different planes. On the dream plane, for instance, you can see most of the things that you see on the astral plane. Only when it comes to organization, a dismal job shows up in your dream world. When dreaming, it is not unusual, for example, to find yourself in a ridiculous scenario where you are in a normal high school class, with your mechanic neighbor as your English teacher and the makeup of your class being 2 of your former elementary school classmates, 1 former classmate from high school, 3 from your university, and the rest being strangers. Surely, what can we term this but a random collection of facts and fantasy? And gladly, you know it when you are dreaming. If it was a sweet, interesting dream, you wake up thinking, I wish it were true. Remember that all along, no part of you is entirely disentangled, body or spirit. However, when it comes to astral projection, your spiritual body leaves your physical body and ventures into deep space where there is a link between your mental contemplation and your intellect. In the discipline of theosophy as propagated by experts like Madame Blavatsky of the 1800s, the astral plane is the one that facilitates strong energy from the prana, which is a higher plane, to seep through to your physical body. This is the exact vitalizing energy that carries you into astral travel. Essentially, you're looking at the astral plane as part of 7 acknowledged planes, the lowest being the physical that is the most temporal part of your being, followed in hierarchy by the astral plane, the strong structure around which the physical 25. Body exists, and ending with the highest, which is the Atma or pure eternal spirit. In fact, you do not have to be deep asleep to shift to the astral plane. You can do it with full consciousness. And it is not similar to a near-death experience, no. When you go through a traumatic experience, say a serious accident, what you do is to lose consciousness and then begin to see things in a remote kind of way. In contrast, as you make your astral travel, you could still be asleep or under anesthesia, or, on the contrary, you could be fully aware of what is happening only in a kind of hypnotic trance. Surely the idea must be forming by now. And you are on the right track if you have begun to imagine having an astral projection while seated or standing in your living room or somewhere familiar for that matter. That is precisely what you are capable of achieving after you have mastered the appropriate skills of traversing the higher realms of existence. Anything to associate astral projection with the future. Question: would it excite you to know that astral projection can help you have a peek at the future? Answer: it is actually possible for you to see beyond today through astral projection. They call it astral premonition. And you have to appreciate the import of something big or serious happening when you have prior knowledge of it. Whether it is something good or bad, it does help you to take it in when you have been psychologically prepared than if it catches you unawares. Or have you not heard of people collapsing after receiving overwhelmingly good news just as others collapse of bad news? In any case, who would not like to be forewarned if only to satisfy some curiosity? Reasons you and others would be interested in astral projection. That much talked about curiosity that killed the cat. You want to experiment and see if you can actually master astral projection, and if so, how far you can go with it. Fair enough. Curiosity is part of human nature. 26. To interact with other astral beings like spirits of loved ones who are departed. To allow your physical body to relax. As you are aware, as long as there is activity of any kind within you, spiritual or otherwise, it will take some energy from your body. As such, any chance for relaxation is more than welcome. To get some information from that extraordinary spiritual world. To try and understand the afterlife in a better way. To achieve some healing by releasing any negative energies and tapping into the positive ones. And just in case it has not yet dawned on you, astral experiences are related to the stars, those bright celestial bodies that bring light and energy into your life, both physical and spiritual. So, no, when you are having a starry projection, you are not dreaming. You are trying to make a brighter life for yourself. For better understanding of astral projection. Your astral body lies between your physical body and your spiritual. It is generally believed that when you die, your spirit escapes your body and joins other spirits someplace in the atmosphere or some other intangible arena. So your astral body is not your spirit. In fact, your astral body is more dense and heavier than your spirit. Astral versus physical body. Also, whereas your astral body can form a similar shape as the one your physical body carries, that does not have to be the case. You could traverse the astral arena in another form other than the shape of your physical appearance. Another difference between your astral body and your physical body is that your astral body can do things that are odd to the naked eye, unlike your physical body. For instance, you can move from one bedroom to 27. The next, without opening doors and without going through a window, you can penetrate a wall as if it was made of malleable material. The astral plane. When we speak of the astral plane, we are targeting the area between your physical world and your spiritual world. This term is often used in its singular form, astral plane. However, the area is actually in strata and you get to traverse them usually when you are dreaming. In short, you may come across people speaking of different levels of the astral plane or simply speaking of astral planes. Astral travel. Astral travel is totally different from the normal travel you would make in ordinary life. For one, when on an astral travel, you do not physically move, you travel while your physical body is still. Another thing is that while you have to circumvent physical barriers in the normal world, there is nothing to bar you from passing wherever you want during your astral travel. You can, for instance, move through brick walls, travel through some water mass, fly thousands of meters above the ground and not in a plane or chopper, any form of travel you can imagine. Then there is the element of time. In daily life, you normally spend an hour or so to travel a distance of about 100 kilometers, yet in astral travel that distance can take you a couple of seconds. You can also traverse different planes when on an astral travel, including the ordinary level, another one that is referred to as phantasmagorical or dreamlike, and finally the divine. You also need to appreciate that there is no clear demarcation between astral planes. From the time you begin your transition from your physical existence, through some symbolic realms, through to the dream world and beyond, you will still be experiencing astral travel. Astral dreams. In any astral dream experience, you get to see things that you do not necessarily see in your physical world. It is like you are having your life create things from imagination, some form of experimentation. Still, you may. 28. See things that are not far from your real life, and these could provide you with great insight into your life. In your semi-awareness, you can see things from varying perspectives depending on what you experience in your astral dreams. It is not unusual to find solutions to real-life situations while in your astral dreams. 29. Chapter 5. Understanding the different planes that make up the human nature. The astral plane on which astral projection takes place is just a part of a set of planes that operate together to complete whom you are. To understand the different planes on which a human being operates, let us analyze them in a simple structure and see how they are arranged in hierarchical order and also in terms of lifespan. Atma. This is the divine part of you. It is the highest plane in terms of lifespan. Essentially, we are saying Atma does not die, not even when your physical body has expired. In fact, it is taken to be the bearer of your existence. If you think of different languages, including the classical Sanskrit, Atma means breath. It means breath also in ancient German. Atma is the core, the divine, the purest spirit of existence. What you need to understand here is that Atma, that divine spirit that gives you existence, is the same one that gives your friend and your foe existence. So you do not have your own Atma and other individuals their Atma. No. Atma exists for us all. That is basically why it makes no sense, from a spiritual perspective, to be antagonistic towards one another. Again, why? Because we are essentially one factor of existence made universal by Atma, the divine and eternal spirit. And does Atma appear in different lives? Well, what lives? If it does not die, it does not incarnate, and so the question of Atma showing up again in reincarnation does not arise. Atma is divine. That sums it up. Buddhi. Although you need to appreciate this plane as your spiritual part, it is in essence that part that serves as the channel through which Atma passes to get. 30. To your person or your soul. Atma radiates right through Buddhi to make its presence felt. Of course, Buddhi is only second to Atma in hierarchy and longevity, and the two inevitably work hand in hand. Otherwise, of what good use would Atma be if it had no way of getting to the other parts of your existence? And in this light, the duo, Atma and Buddhi, has a common name as a unit. They are referred to as the monad. Manas. This here now is individualistic, and is your intellectual part. It is your mind, that part you use to think, your consciousness. It is that part that distinguishes you as the individual that you are, distinct from other people. And it is physically hosted by your brain. Yes, hosted. It is not your brain, you know that, don't you? That you can touch your brain, but you cannot touch your mind. This part that you will hear sometimes referred to as manasic entity is the one that instigates all actions of an individual, including line of thought, choice of words, and cause of action. And you can direct all those towards the higher or the lower manas. Yes, this plane is of a dual nature. All those things that tend to give you dignity or some superior edge, things of a spiritual, abstract, or intellectual nature, and those associated with truth, purity, love, compassion, and inner beauty, are all on the higher manas. On the contrary, those that tend to push your soul closer to that of the animal, things that reflect selfishness, antagonism, and crude sensual tendencies, are all on the lower manas. And you know what? You either operate on the higher manas or the lower manas. You cannot be on both hemispheres at the same time. Now this intellectual part, the manas, is what they call in theosophy your ego, the real you. And unlike the two higher planes, Atma and Buddhi, this one does expire, but it also does incarnate again and again. In short, your intellectual part does reincarnate in later existence. What you have just read about, the Atma, the Buddhi, and the Manas, is the set of planes referred to as the higher or spiritual triad. 31. Kama. This is the passionate part of you. It is that part that tends to show how far or nearer your nature is to that of an animal. If you are so sensually inclined that the intensity of your lusts and desires makes you ignore your intellectual and spiritual reasoning, that is an indication that your beastly nature is more prominent. That animal soul will, gladly, die with your physical body. Prana. They call it your vital part, and with good reason. It is the energy, the vitality that makes you stay breathing and moving as you do. It is the force behind the thriving of your physical body. What we are essentially saying is that if your prana leaves you, you will no longer exist as you know yourself or as we see you, and you will not be able to do anything, let alone astral projection. Linga Sharira. This is your astral part, the subject of our analysis today. As we have already mentioned in this book, this astral part is the makeup of your subtle body, the blueprint on which your physical body is molded. It is the vessel through which your vital part, those very essential energies, or the prana, gets to your physical body. It is fundamentally the base for your astral projection. As far as lifespan is concerned, your astral part precedes your physical body in coming into existence, and it fully disappears from existence only after all the muscles of your physical body are gone. In fact, your astral part still lives on until your entire body has disintegrated, save for your skeleton. Anyway, as you can see, there are several other important planes above the astral plane, and so you need not fret while trying to instigate astral travels on your own. In short, your existence has a bigger support system beyond your physical body and your astral body. 32. Sthula Sharira. This is your physical existence, the mass body that hosts all the other planes already mentioned. In short, this part of you is overrated, considering that you would not be the person that you are if it were not for all the other parts, from the universal Atma to your own astral body. Still, you need to take care of it, because as far as astral projection goes, you cannot afford to get distracted by an itching or aching part of your physical body, or even by some discomfort of sorts. 33. Chapter 6. Easiest Techniques for Astral Projection. First of all, do you foresee yourself achieving any high level of mental understanding or even imagination unless you are relaxed? You surely cannot. And that is the reason experts suggest that you be as relaxed as possible when trying your hand, or is it your mind, at astral projection. From the smallest toe of your foot, couldn't belong elsewhere, of course, to your throbbing heart, you need to work at relaxation, just letting go. And what are we rehearsing for? Well, you want to learn how to create an exit route for your consciousness from this physical world where you see and hear your neighbor playing music or doing other things, to another realm where only spiritual beings exist. And if you recall, we spoke earlier about the silver cord, that link that ensures your spiritual self does not delink itself entirely from your physical self, but instead becomes a bridge through which the relevant energies flow. One reason you need to appreciate the existence of this silver cord is that you will be confident of resuming your normal state after your journey to the astral plane, for the simple reason that your spiritual self now clearly has a comeback route. Without this confidence, you are likely to hold on to your spiritual being for fear of losing it, and hence inhibiting the success of your astral projection. Let us now walk the talk of astral projection. Timing. Timing is very important, because surely, what concentration would you have after, for instance, working on the tax returns of your business a whole long day? Or haggling for hours on end in the boardroom on a proposal you ended up losing? The point is, you need to do your astral projection when your mind is fresh and relaxed. For that reason, early morning sounds great. In fact, at that time of the day your mental awareness is at an elevated level. Let us talk atmosphere. 34. Imagine this. How would you enjoy your meal if you were to eat amidst gawking eyes of people who are doing other jobs other than eating? You would surely find it difficult to concentrate on eating and enjoying your meal. This works with everything else that we do. Whatever it is, you do it best when the atmosphere is right. The right atmosphere for astral travel needs to be set in an area where you feel entirely at ease. It could be your bedroom, your patio, anywhere you feel comfortable to be. Then you position yourself on the bed you have there, or the sofa, and allow yourself to relax fully. All right, is that all? Well, close but not complete. You need to ensure you are safe from intrusion. Safeguard yourself the way you do a library setup. You do not need those people who tend to have hot news for you just when you need your privacy and quiet. If you live with a partner, it is you to shift to a secluded area. And needless to say, there are big noises you would be glad to avoid, like honking of cars, gongs from a building site, noisy kids, such. And you are better off without eye-blinding lights. So, select a quiet place without distractions and draw the curtains. Focus totally on yourself. You are lying down facing up and feeling relaxed. How does it feel? Well, you cannot exactly tell until you free your mind of all thoughts, but those related to your body. What you are trying to accomplish is to have a fully relaxed body and a similarly relaxed mind. Does your body automatically get into a relaxed mode when you lie down? No, Not always. If you are tense, you just lie there in your tension. So you need to make an effort at relaxation. You can try to flex your toes, your knees, your wrists, and every part of your body till you have reached your head. Consider yourself ready for the next step when your entire body feels relaxed, including every muscle. 35. Concentrate fully on your breathing. It is easy to be preoccupied with imaginations of you getting into Wonderland, but you need to avoid that. At this juncture, all you want is to get into a deep breathing rhythm that releases all tension from your shoulders as well as your chest so that you are entirely in a vast sea of relaxation. It is now time to get your astral body from your physical one. How do you do it? 1. Of course you are fully relaxed, aren't you? What you need to do now is to allow yourself some kind of near sleep while not losing consciousness. While still closing your eyes, allow your mind to move about, but ultimately lead it to a specific part of your body, say, your toe. What you are trying to attain is a hypnotic state, termed otherwise as hypnagogic state. 2. Are you still watching your toe with your eyes shut? Well, continue in that manner till you have no other thoughts in your mind but that toe. 3. Guess what? You are going to try and do with your mind what your physical body does as a matter of fact. In this regard, try and move the toe in question in your mind, but physically you need to remain still. 4. That visualization should be so intense you get a feeling like the movement is physically happening. 5. Pick on another part of your body, say, your arm. Focus on it and move it mentally. 6. Continue with this exercise until you reach a level where you can move any part of your body in your mental state, and that includes your heavy head. Oh yes, your head is never light even when you are feeling lightheaded after a couple of pints. 36. 7. Psyche yourself for vibrations. In this advanced level of relaxation and concentration, you will begin to sense vibrations within you. And guess what is happening then? Your astral body is preparing to leave your physical body. Go with the flow and succumb to those vibrations. That way, you will be facilitating smooth exit for your astral body as opposed to putting blocks along the silver cord. 8. Are you certain your astral body has managed to leave your body? Here's a way to find out. While still in the physical state that you are in, try in your mind to pull yourself into a standing position. Then, still in your mental state, turn to the sofa or the bed you lay on and see if your physical body is still laying there. If it surely is still there, that should confirm to you that your astral body is now working independent of your physical body. Hooray! You have managed to achieve astral projection. 9. Get your consciousness back. When you are a novice, you're advised to refrain from venturing out too long, otherwise you may begin to develop anxieties. So now allow yourself to focus back on your physical body, slowly allowing the astral energies to flow back into your body where they usually reside in harmony. 10. Be gradual. Do not try anything drastic. Just as you are gentle with your astral exit, so should you be with the re-entry of your astral body. Just to be sure your consciousness is all back, try to move different parts of you individually, your toe, your leg, your arm, till you are able to tilt and move your entire body. So now, are you not going to rise when they ask of people who have had a successful astral travel? Of course, why not? You have been out of your body and back without missing a heartbeat. What expertise! 37. Chapter 7. Apt preparation for astral projection. Some things are easier said than done. You agree, don't you? Like someone telling you, never mind, you'll get another one after you have lost your gold necklace to a street urchin. Never mind? Seriously? Yet, difficult and even illogical as it may be, there is a technique you could learn that helps you to let go of even those things that look humongous to your spirit. Here are some things you have learned are necessary for your success in astral projection, yet they are not necessarily the easiest to achieve, things you will learn how to accomplish in a moment. Having your body in its entirety in a state of complete relaxation. Attaining full level of concentration in whatever move you make. Being full of energy to be able to tap from a rich source as you balance on your silver cord. Being able to instigate pressure on your astral body so that it leaves your physical body when you want it to. As mentioned earlier on, These are beautiful states that make things right in astral travel, yet you will only achieve them when you know how. And the how-to includes activating your chakras or energy points so that there is abundant energy flowing to create a path and give momentum to the astral body. How to get into the requisite state of trance is a skillful art you need to learn. Here is how to enter the right state of mind and do things right. Relaxing. Choose early mornings for your sessions of astral travel. That is the time your muscles are relaxed and your mind is so drowsy it has not begun to. 38. Awaken to the thoughts of the days awaiting challenges. You also are not tired, and so it is easy for you to concentrate on whatever you direct your mind to. Such early times of day are the best for you to manipulate your inner self with least resistance or distraction. To curb fears. Have you ever tried to trace a place and after weaving your way through streets and alleys you finally located it? How excited you must have felt. But then come your return journey and GPSs were nowhere around. Making your way back can be even more frustrating than the initial headache of locating the place. Incidentally, the same thing can happen in your attempt at astral projection. Your spiritual body makes it out and finds it difficult to return. When else do you think panic sets in if not times like these? In order to remain relaxed in the middle of your astral travel, it is imperative that you do not panic or develop anxieties. One thing you can do is to ensure that you venture just within your area. In short, avoid daring yourself when you are new to this astral experience. Trying to fly to another state, whomever you think you could find, should not be your priority right now. It is enough that you walk around your room trying to locate your reading lamp, your favorite shirt or dress, and so on. Gradually, you will be able to move to your other rooms and back into your physical state with confidence. And in due course, you could be set to cross rivers and hills. Just do not skip any steps. You need to develop solid confidence. Otherwise, it could be a nightmare if your astral body succeeded in leaving your physical body and you were unable to bring it back for endless minutes. Saturate your mind with only positive thoughts. If you can keep your mind blank, it is well and good. However, you and I know it is a tough call. So why not summon beautiful thoughts to lay foundation for a great astral experience? You do not want to be holding your breath on your astral travel after just watching a ghastly sight in a horror movie. Instead, you will do yourself a lot of good if you embark on your astral projection after reveling in good news or after reliving a successful 39. Experience of whatever nature. Make your body boring and your astral body beautiful. This is the trick when you want to coax your astral body out. You need to visualize your body in a color that is pretty dull, and then have yourself focus on your astral body in its very attractive and bright color, pulling itself out of that boring place that is your body. Use a bright halo to keep off distractions. You need to be sure all your energies are protected and are being utilized only for your intended purpose, astral projection. So to keep off any forces that can sap your energies in a clandestine manner, it is important that you surround yourself with a white or yellow ring of light. Know you are safe in the astral plane. Whatever your encounter, do not panic. Nothing within the realm of astral plane is capable of hurting your mind or even your earthly body. For that matter, always keep calm and do not let any disruptive thoughts make you digress from your astral projection. Imagine your physical body if you have to. In case the time comes when you want your astral body to have a reunion with your physical body and it seems a little stubborn, just visualize your physical body flying back from the astral plane as if in a flash. And there you will have your astral body back where it belongs. Remember, time and distance are very different on the different planes. An hour on the physical world could be covered by a minute on the astral plane, or something like that. 40. Chapter 8. Who qualifies for astral projection? Did you know you are as good as anyone else when it comes to matters astral? You are not doomed to remain in your physical form and that form only. You are more complex than that. In fact, experts say you exist on 7 planes, though you may be familiar with only the earthly one. So do not berate yourself imagining that astral travel is for a special kind of people, possibly more spiritual or more religiously correct than you are. No single human being has the onus of dishing out the outstanding energies that traverse your different planes, both physical and celestial. Those energies are innate, and so you have them too. And you can direct them as you wish. In addition, you need not be a student of metaphysics to travel on this astral journey. You can prepare yourself for it by trying out some very simple things, simply geared towards getting you in the right state of body and mind. Those simple things, however, go beyond ensuring that you have a lot of energy within the right environment. Here are the factors you need to have right. Be in good health. If need be, undergo some detoxification. You cannot afford to be distracted by an aching or itching wound or an unsettled mind. You need to utilize all the energy that you have on directing your consciousness. Have good intentions. You need to wish good on everyone, including those who have wronged you. If you keep a grudge, that will contribute to blocking the smooth flow of your energies. If you can, put yourself on a vegan diet. 41. Whatever has your meals got to do with this, you must be wondering. But this is more of a biological angle. Think about how much energy you need to process meats as opposed to leaves alone. And like we mentioned earlier on, you need all the energy you can muster for astral projection. Don't you even think that if the digestion becomes a heavy-duty process, it will undermine your concentration? Eat light. Do you feel sluggish and sleepy after a heavy meal? Surely if that is the case, why would you wish to elicit such a feeling of lousiness when you need all your faculties working? In fact, it is advisable that you eat something light if you are preparing for an astral projection, because then your metabolism will not have a toll on you. Learn to meditate. Practicing meditation is one way of training yourself to focus where you intend to and also to maintain concentration when you plan on it. Be in an environment that reflects the colors of your aura. This is likely to stimulate your senses and get your mind working in a manner to increase its ability to control focus. What is being asked of you is nothing really fancy or outrageous. Just imagine yourself living in a house whose walls are painted black and possibly a matching carpet. Does it not depress you just to imagine it? How much good would such an environment then do to a person preparing for one of the most imaginative journeys? Any at all. In fact, that kind of dullness would be outright sabotage. Here is something else you could try out. Begin by early morning meditation. Say, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. 42. Return to your bed and have one controlled dream. Now position yourself for yoga and have a 10-minute session. That should get you set for a great astral travel. 43. Chapter 9. Universally Accepted Techniques of Astral Projection. Do you still remember what we said about the universality of this potential for out-of-body experience? Yes, you, I, and every other person can do it. But just like in the aspect of hunger, where what I love to eat may send you to the bathroom all sick and sweaty, the method that sends me exploring the upper spiritual planes may send you snoring. Or worse still, gasping for breath. So, follow the procedure that gets you to where you want most smoothly and confidently. With that basic principle of freedom of choice, it has become clear that some methods are generally more popular than others. Why not look at some of those popular ones and analyze them step by step? They could serve as your refresher course, as if this is some actual curriculum. Sometime in the future. Rope technique. No. You are not going to skip your way into the starry sphere. You cannot do that in your physical state. And with that point made, you need to do the basics of lying down in a comfortable position and face upwards. Here is where the rope business effectively begins. Visualize a strong rope hanging above you from your ceiling. What? No ceiling. But you surely have a roof over your head. Visualize the rope hanging from whatever it is that covers your shelter. One thing you need to keep in your mind is that your aim is to induce an out-of-body experience, OBE. Once that is clear at all times, no feeling or sensation is likely to disorient you, and so your transition from your physical self to your astral self will be smooth, in fact, even faster than otherwise. With your whole body still and relaxed, raise your arms and reach for the rope. Oops, with your mind not your physical arms. Your whole body needs to remain physically still. Pull at the rope at the same time having a 44. Particular spot of your body that is bearing the pressure. With a nice hold on the rope, keep exerting pressure on that body spot as you pull yourself upwards. This is a gradual process. Keep moving up and up the rope, and as your spiritual body pulls itself from your physical state, you will feel some sensations. You will most likely feel those on your hands as they put pressure on the imaginary rope, and along your arms too as you continue to pull yourself up. Allow yourself to register the upward movement of your body all the time. Sometimes you may feel a little dizzy, but it is nothing to worry about. Just focus on your upward climb, even when the dizziness intensifies. You are on the right track, and sooner or later, vibrations will kick in. Accommodate those as well and keep climbing. Even with the increasing vibrations, your concentration needs to be on your climb and nowhere else. Soon you may begin to sense some kind of paralysis. Not real paralysis that could get you on a wheelchair, no. Remember what we learned up there somewhere, that you are safe whatever journey you take on the astral plane. So panic not and retreat not. You have got to reach the promised land. As your concentration intensifies and the temporal paralysis manifests itself, you will reach a moment when you register unmistakable freedom from your physical body. At this juncture, you are actually a spiritual body hovering over your own physical body. In fact, by the time you experience some intense vertigo, as you sometimes will, you will have successfully transitioned to your astral body. Remember, remain relaxed and calm at all times. And once you go from this point henceforth, and how far out you venture is entirely your business. You long to reach the realm of astral beings, and you made it. Enjoy. This technique is one through which many people have an astral experience, even when they have tried other techniques and failed. Sometimes they are amazed at how fast they succeed. The technique has been known to produce results almost instantaneously. The person credited with devising the rope technique was called Robert Bruce. Bruce is one of the modern-day experts in astral dynamics and is also a mystic author. And he is Australian, though born in England. His main focus when devising this particular technique was quite different from the conventional astral travels. He wanted to help people who had visual problems. It was envisaged that the technique would 45. Help those who were visually impaired because they could depend on their tactile experience where visual memories failed. Ladder technique. In this technique, you are expected to make all moves the same way you do in the rope technique, except for some little modification. Instead of visualizing a rope hanging from up the ceiling, what you visualize is a ladder. It is the one you use here to help you make your climb from your body, which is lying down flat, to the space above you. This technique is given as an option for people who are psychologically scared of using the rope for fear that it might give way. Even when the preparations for an astral travel are all in your mind, real fear does actually set in sometimes. And as has already been mentioned, you need to be relaxed at all times if you are to succeed. No anxieties. When you are using this ladder technique, instead of gripping your bridge with your hands only, you grip it, this time not the rope but the ladder, with both your hands as well as your feet. And that is bound to make you comfortable even if you are initially afraid of falling off. Thirst technique. How would you like to work with a teaser? You can get it, but you won't get it, kind of enticement. It works in many spheres, but those are for you to contemplate, not for me to say. Anyway, here you get a clear glass of water, glittering clear, the kind that you want to gulp without a break when the sun is a seething 20-something degrees. And you place it where you can see it from your bed. Hey, not just next to the bed, but just within clear view. Is that all? It is, yes. But you need to be pretty thirsty when you slip into bed. In essence, what you need to pick from here is that it should be a day that you allow your throat to go dry, going without liquids for a reasonable number of hours before bedtime. In fact, if you can manage to eat some of those favorites of yours that are fatty or sweet, the kind that calls for a thirst-quenching drink like you are in a desert, the better. 46. Then walk towards the glass of water and accept the fact that you are longing for it, imagining how great it would be to empty it right down your gullet. You can make it even more pictorial for your mind by sitting right in front of the glass for a while. Admire it, long for it, but do not touch. Just imagine yourself lifting it, bringing it to your lips, and drinking all the water. Of course, there is no way that the thirst is not going to bother you. But you have a plan, so you will fight the urge to drink that water or anything else for that matter, and then you will proceed to bed the normal way. Believe it or not, even as sleep tries to crawl in, the thirst will not leave you. Here's where the situation becomes helpful in astral projection. Visualize yourself getting up and reaching out for that glass whose location you so well know. You are desperate to quench your thirst, so your spiritual body will, very likely, succumb to your wish. It will accept your direction to leave the bed and go for the glass of water. And how can it make it but by leaving your physical body? So you will surely reach the glass and you will drink the water. Yes, in your spiritual body, and then return to bed, rejoining your physical self. What does that mean? Hooray! You have managed to get your spiritual body to part with your physical body for a while, the span it reached for the water. So you have essentially had an out-of-the-body experience, because when you awaken full and slip out of bed, you will find your glass of water as full as you left it. Point shift technique. In this technique, as all others, you need to be relaxed, both physically and mentally. The method is quite traditional and relatively difficult for beginners. At the same time, there are those people who wonder why the technique is deemed difficult when they themselves ended up succeeding in 47. Their first attempt. Let's just say, one person's astral journey can be very different from that of someone else. Lie down someplace where you feel at ease. Then focus on your physical body. This means serious concentration on the frame of your body, of course with your eyes closed, so, practically, you are visualizing it. Once you get the image of your body well stuck in your mind, think of the things that are around your physical body. You need to concentrate so that the true image remains with you even after you have left your physical body and traveled to the astral plane, some mapping of sorts. By the time you finish getting the full picture of your physical body plus the things around it, and when you can clearly visualize where each item is in proximity to others in the vicinity, you will already be feeling some flotation. That feeling of flotation will develop from a low level, at first feeling like your body is raised a few centimeters into the air, then a meter, and so on. As you feel your body rising, you will be able to see the whole layout of your surrounding exactly as it was when you were in your physical awareness. It is important to note that you may need to apply some degree of force to get yourself up to a reasonable level before you feel yourself rising with relative ease. Still, even when the term force is used here, it does not encompass tension. You need to be as relaxed as possible at any particular moment. What you will be doing is applying a little pressure to help you rise. Visualizing your double. This is one technique where you concentrate on seeing a different you. Of course, you already have in mind the reality of what you ultimately want, and that is to be able to get out of your physical body and look at it from a different level. This technique helps you because you delve straight to the intended outcome. What happens is that the level of concentration that helps you visualize another you ends up getting your focus entirely away from yourself. And before you know what is happening, you will no longer be conscious of your physical body. 48. When trying out this technique, you are advised to be in a relaxed position, preferably a lying position. However, when you are reflecting an image of yourself, you can take the liberty of letting your double lie down as you, or take different postures from you, like even sitting down. For you to succeed in this kind of control, you need to have focused intently on your personal details, body features like your ankles, but back of your head, name it. Anticipate some pressure inside your head as you try to manipulate your double's movements. And sometimes that pressure is in your chest and not your head. That feeling need not send you into a panic, as it is an indication that you are succeeding in your transition to an astral being. Finally, you will succeed in leaving your physical presence entirely behind, and your presence will be in your double. Monitor yourself slipping into sleep. Have you heard anything more awkward than this? You are dozing off and yet watching yourself zoom into sleep? Well, awkward or ridiculous, it can happen, and it does happen. You realize you are not all bone and flesh, don't you? Oh yes, and bone and flesh is primarily what you send packing after a long day's work. That is why you need a bed or some ground to lie on. Otherwise, do you think your spirit, which is the other important component of you, really needs a physical surface? Obviously not. That is for your physical body. So you tell yourself, my dear body, I know you are exhausted and I allow you to rest. In fact, do fall asleep. And so, in the meantime, whatever spirit you have in that mind of yours keeps vigil. Now, here you are allowed to laugh at yourself because what you have chosen to do is ridiculously difficult. Sleeping without really sleeping. That means sleeping but remaining conscious of your surroundings. Let us be realistic. Your mind was also somewhat tired when you came to bed, so it is a struggle to keep alert. The state you end up in, therefore, is that which we describe as being trance-like. So here is your body all heavy and feeling numb, and then comes the tingling sensation. Then the now familiar vibrations follow. Remember, this is not a 49 team sport. What you feel is solely your experience, and so it is up to you to decide your pace and your intensity. You may encourage the vibrations to intensify, or you may not. There are instances when you will even feel pressure right in your head, and sometimes even a buzzing noise. But whatever you hear or feel, remember what your intention is: to enable your astral body temporarily take leave from your physical body and venture into the spiritual arena. So keep your focus and do not get distracted. With all these feelings merged into one overwhelming force, succumb to that elevation that you feel, that one which makes you feel like you are floating out of your body and into space. Your spiritual body is thus getting the freedom to venture into the astral plane. It helps to succumb to that flotation because slowly and gradually you will be moving as you wish in your astral body, viewing the world in multiple dimensions and meeting other astral bodies you never could have met. Rolling method. This technique usually is best as an aid, meaning when you are already using another technique, this one can help to strengthen or accelerate your efforts. The reason it is deemed a great aid is that it involves an act that is familiar, that of rolling in bed. Chances are that you do roll in bed more than once in a single night, and so imagining yourself doing so cannot be difficult. The way to execute this technique is to visualize yourself rolling in bed this way and that way, and trying to see with the eyes of your mind each position of your body as you adjust. Keep in mind that this is not fast but slow rolling. And take care not to engage in physical rolling. Keep everything mental. You want to visualize movements that leave you still calm and relaxed. These visualized moves can trigger the experience you are seeking, an out-of-body experience. However, often it just puts you in a better position to succumb to another complementary technique of your choice. Driving system technique. This technique where you visualize a driving system is not exactly one of 50. The traditional methods many people will give you as a choice. However, it fits well in the modern world because it takes you through familiar experiences, things you see in your daily conscious life. The person who came up with this technique was, again, Robert Bruce, the man who produced Astral Dynamics, a book he wrote from his compilation of articles, a treatise on astral projection. All you need is to recall how you see images from the sides of your eyes as you drive along someplace. Don't you see images outside the car moving fast past you with images changing in fractions of seconds? You observe something similar when you are playing computer games based on driving too. Just concentrating on your driving, focusing on the road ahead, makes the images on the side move all the more faster and with consistency. If you think about it critically, you can recall how easy it is to get lost in the driving game. In fact, it is like you enter a trance-like state where you even lose count of time. Is it not usual for you to leave the screen after an hour or so and only realize afterwards how much time you have been seated playing? This is the kind of trance-like state this technique seeks to induce as you replay a session of computer driving. Alternatively, you could visualize yourself driving along a long stretch, making it feel real in your mind. However, just like the rolling method, this one is more as an aid, to be used alongside another technique like the rope or ladder technique. Once you are in a trance, it is easy to do the rest, allowing your spiritual body to escape your physical one and floating away to a level where you can see your physical self separately. It is worth mentioning too that the driving technique is not one you want to use all the time, even if it proves effective. There should be some concern that if you get used to entering a trance-like state visualizing driving, it may happen to you when you are practically driving on a road. In short, your system may associate being behind a wheel to astral travels, and that is definitely dangerous. Tunnel technique. This technique involves you visualizing a tunnel, one that is dark. Then as 51. You peep through this tunnel, you see some light emerging right at the end of it. Here you are called upon to use your imagination and visualize yourself in flying mode. In your mind, you're like a plane flying low and preparing to take off. This is one instance when you are capable of flying, so you are, obviously, not taking yourself to be your physical self. Anyway, you continue flying and increasing your speed the way a plane would, and you will begin to sense vibrations and even noises. Ignore these and proceed on your line of visualization. Just at the point where you reach the light at the end of your tunnel, your astral self will disengage from your physical self and you will have succeeded in astral projection. You are now ready to make your astral travels. Monroe Technique. Who is Monroe? Well, in relation to out-of-body experiences, Robert Allen Monroe, popularly known as Bob Monroe, is that radio broadcasting executive who is credited with extensive research on matters of altered consciousness. He passed on in 1995, but left behind a mark in this field that is still little understood. He also wrote the book, Journeys Out of the Body. In fact, it is generally accepted that the now common term, out-of-body experience, was derived from this title. This is a technique we have mentioned before without giving it a name, and you will see that it is familiar when we describe it here below. Relaxation is key in this technique. How you get relaxed is not prescribed, but in time, you will register the pose or things that get you relaxed the easiest. Then you let yourself sleep without letting yourself be totally unconscious. In short, you let yourself get into the hypnagogic state, that one where you are in the middle of sleep and alertness or wakefulness. You can choose to raise your forearm a little bit so that you can notice when you are drifting to sleep. At that stage of drifting towards sleep, your forearm cannot resist dropping. 52. You will also know you are drifting off to sleep when you find intrusive thoughts crossing your mind. Just watch these ones passively. Monroe gave this state Condition A. The next phase incorporates Monroe's Condition B. Here you clear your mind of all thoughts that you find distracting, which may simply total all thoughts. How you do that is by observing the blackness that engulfs you with your eyes tightly shut. Soon you are, very likely, going to see light patterns, those ones replacing the blackness you were seeing through closed eyes. You need not try to decipher those patterns as they are nothing more than neutral visual discharges. At this point, you are right in Condition B. Going for Monroe's Condition C. You are in Condition C at the point where you are in deep relaxation. At that point, you feel nothing physical, no sensations, and no awareness of your physical presence. You are actually in a void, and the only thing that can stimulate you is a line of thought. You are on your way to full projection now. When you feel vibrations traversing your body, as you are wont to, embrace them, and if you feel like you could intensify them, please do. Concentrate on controlling those vibrations, focusing on channeling your energies to some particular place of your choice. In due course, you will find your astral body parting from your physical body. This is the state Monroe terms Condition D. This state is like a natural progression from Condition C. It is the successful transition to an astral form. Often, this technique works well early in the morning when all is quiet and calm, and when your body is still, kind of, half awake. Can you see how doable these techniques are? Why then live in the ancient way of thinking where astral projection was believed to be only for psychics and mediums? In fact, this is where you get to say to yourself you can do anything if you put your mind to it. And that includes flying into the parking lot outside in the middle of the night, and, within a flash, confirming that your car is still intact, yet you remain physically safe in your warm bed. 53. Chapter 10. Other techniques applicable in OBE. The running technique. Here you are expected to lie down in a comfortable position and allow yourself to relax fully. Always remember the aspect of being relaxed cannot be overstated. Being relaxed is the only way to kick away any inhibiting tension and fears that may creep in. Once your muscles are relaxed as well as your entire body and you feel ready to begin your astral projection, visualize yourself running. Summon all the energy you can and continue running as fast as you can. In this technique, you need not worry much about how clearly you manage to imagine yourself running. It is enough that you can feel the sensations within your legs in your imaginary run. In reality, when you run fast and for some time, you are bound to feel some tension developing in your legs. Even now in your imaginary race, imagine your leg muscles getting tense. Still, you need to ensure you do not make the muscles of your physical body tense. In short, you should not mistake your imagination for reality. You need to keep this whole running experience strictly imaginary. As you continue visualizing yourself running, the sensations in your legs that then turned into tension will now be replaced by vibrations. Just continue running fast the same way you have been running, and as you do so, imagine you seeing a brick wall right ahead of you. Concentrate on running without giving much thought to that wall. Run as fast as you can, and soon you will approach the wall and smash right onto it. This here moment is the instance your astral body gets delinked from your physical body. From then on, you will be undergoing an out-of-body experience. The train technique. 54. Here your imagination should take you inside a fast-moving train. You are right in the corridor of the train, and as you look ahead you see nothing in your way. So you begin to run even as the train continues to move fast. The speed at which you are running is like you are really eager to get to the end of the train. Concentrate on your imaginary run, ensuring you do not get distracted and begin to move your legs. As in the other techniques, your physical body should be still and relaxed. One thing you are registering with intensity as you run is the noise within the train. As you allow your mind to absorb this imaginary noise, what you are in effect triggering are hypnagogic hallucinations of an auditory nature. There is this Dutch physician, Isprind van Diemerbroek, who wrote about hypnagogic hallucinations very clearly. Diemerbroek lived in the 17th century. Being in a hypnagogic state is being within that period when you are transitioning from being awake to falling asleep. And when you are transitioning from being asleep to the state of wakefulness, that state is referred to as hypnopompic. Anyway, back to your imaginary run. You are running so fast along the train corridor, and the noise inside the moving train is getting all the more intense. Soon you get to the end of the corridor and off, you jump out of the moving train. Of course you are bound to fall to the ground outside with a thud, and that very moment your astral body gets delinked from your physical body. You have succeeded in your astral projection, and you can now proceed with your astral travel. The tornado technique. When using this technique, you begin by imagining yourself right in the middle of a tornado, what you would call being within the eye of the tornado. Imagine yourself spinning very fast as if you have lost all control to stop. You are, obviously, hearing the noisy wind as you spin against it. In due course, you will begin to register hypnagogic auditory hallucinations. Together with those, you will be filled with vibrations and will be overwhelmed with shaking. Pay attention to those sensations and feelings until your astral body is ready to take off. Then at the right moment, let the tornado spit you out. It will shoot you out and you fall sharply to the ground. 55. That is precisely the moment your astral body severs links with your physical body. Doing some phantom wiggling. In this technique, you're expected to try out wiggling either of your limbs without physically moving it. You can, for instance, wiggle your hand in your imagination or even your foot. Concentrate on wiggling whatever limb you choose until you can actually feel it moving. Keep your physical body still all the while. In fact, in this technique you can try to wiggle different parts of the body at different times. Soon you will feel the parts wiggling in your imagination, and then you will begin experiencing vibrations. You need to continue these wiggling exercises until your astral body detaches itself from your physical body. The listening technique. The question here is, what will you be listening to? In this technique, you will be listening to sounds within your head. If you stop listening to what is happening around you and concentrate on what is happening within you, chances are that you will hear sounds. Sometimes those sounds will be in form of buzzing. Other times they will be humming sounds. And still other times it will be voices. Instead of wondering the origin of such noises, just concentrate on listening to them. As you continue to put your full focus on those sounds, you will notice their volume increasing and their intensity rising. Continue paying your full attention to the noises, and as you get fully engrossed in them, your astral body will find itself flipping out of the physical body and venturing on its own. That is the moment you begin your out-of-body experience, having succeeded in your astral projection. Putting a strain on your brain. Speaking of straining your brain might sound ridiculous, like you are trying. 56. to give yourself a concussion, but this is not the case. All that this technique asks of you is to imagine yourself putting pressure on your brain in a bid to jumpstart the process of astral projection. Concentrate on this attempt to mentally put pressure on your brain, and you will actually begin to feel like it is happening for real. Continue squeezing your brain right in its location in your head, all this mentally. This exercise should result in some tension within your head. Even then, do not stop exerting pressure on the brain as you have been doing in the last few moments. Continue squeezing the brain, and soon you will sense vibrations in your head. And as you continue adding more pressure on your brain, you will begin to feel like you are falling down. At this moment when you feel that way, it is your astral body trying to cut links with your physical body. Continue to persistently apply pressure on your brain, and before long, your astral body and your physical body will part ways. That is how easily astral projection can be attained. Sensory motor visualization. This is a technique best practiced when you are waking up. Instead of thinking of rising and possibly getting out of bed, remain still with your eyes closed. Then think about an object in the room and reach out for it in your mind. Hold on to it and then continue visualizing the rest of the room. Play around with your imagination in this manner for about 10 or 15 seconds. You may find yourself slowly being carried away to far-off places, having projected and entered the astral realm of existence. However, this technique may not necessarily work for some people. If it fails, think up another technique and use it for astral projection if you really wanted to do this before starting your day. There are instances when the astral projection does not take place instantly, yet you cannot deem it a failure. These are times when you get your mental sensations mixing up with some physical sensations. So in a way, you are on your way to astral projection when some feelings on your physical body draw you away and mar your concentration. In such instances, you do not need to give up. Keep trying your visualization, and soon your sense of imagination and intensity of concentration will overwhelm your physical sensations. And ultimately, 57. Only your imagined senses will be at play. That is when your astral body will disengage from your physical body. Technique of eye movement. This is another technique that is best tried before getting up from sleep. After waking up, just keep your eyes closed and your body still too. What you want to do is work with your eyes only. With eyes still closed, move them sharply from the left to the right 2 consecutive times. Alternatively, you can move them upwards and downwards, still in quick, sharp motions. These movements should trigger some vibrations around your eyes or even in your head. If you cannot feel any of that, just abandon the technique and try something else. Not all techniques work with everyone. Otherwise, vibrations would normally occur, and further attempts at further eye movements could intensify those vibrations. As the vibrations intensify, so does your astral body attempt to disengage from your physical body, and you will succeed in your attempt at astral projection. 58. Chapter 11. What is the normal timing for astral projection? Normal timing. Do you think there is any wrong time when it comes to visiting your house in Philadelphia or wherever else from your holiday resort in the Seychelles, and all within less than 10 minutes? There is really nothing like normal or abnormal, right or wrong time for astral projection. The suggestion of an early morning is just that, not a hard and fast rule. In any case, the power and energies required, as alluded to here before, are within you. In fact, some people take their astral travels as often as you have your daily breakfast or even dinner. Of course, you will have reached an advanced level of mental and spiritual awareness to be able to move out of your body and back with such ease and such regularity. For a good number of people who have mastered the art of astral projection, it usually becomes easier and smoother when they happen to be in a serene environment, like those sacred areas where you would hear the drop of a pin, and where your whole system feels like it is immersed in a warm bath of strong mystic energies. Yet there are those, possibly like you, who can speak of only one time that they believe they had ventured out of their bodies. Does it mean that everyone goes on astral travels? Well, maybe so. You may have had an astral projection at one time and dismissed it as a vivid dream. And even if you have never exercised astral projection, it is not for lack of ability. So yes, If you practice how to go on astral travels, you will manage to venture out of your physical body and meet other spiritual bodies. Just mind whom you meet. Oh, so we have a choice on whom to meet on that astral plane? Well, in religion they say when you do bad things you are bound to meet the devil and his cohorts, but when you do good things you get to meet God and his angels. Now, here's the situation with astral projection. 59. Contrary to the scientific laws of our Earth, which have like terms repelling on the astral plane, those are the ones that attract. In essence, therefore, when you are full of positive energy and you are projecting positive thoughts, you land on the upper spiritual plane where you meet spiritual bodies that are just as great. And you get all happy, relieved, and optimistic about the future. And when all you have are negative energies and you are projecting negative thoughts, the converse happens. You land on the lower spiritual plane during your astral projection, and the astral beings you encounter have nothing good but negatives to show you. And so your astral experience leaves you in a foul mood and mentally drained. And did you know some astral projections are spontaneous? Yes, exactly, like a spontaneous laugh. But like such a laugh, there is a trigger. The trigger could be a traumatic experience such as a vehicle accident, or even mental trauma occurring from the use of psychedelic drugs. Sometimes your body just slips into a coma or a trance, and there comes your spontaneous experience of astral travel. That out-of-body experience, whose descriptive terminology came into use in 1943 when experts began to acknowledge that there was more to astral projection than spiritual beliefs. How is planned astral projection different from spontaneous astral projection? Easy. Have you noticed that in this book we are keeping things simple? Here's what happens when you go through spontaneous astral projection. Say disorientation. You begin to wonder, for the love of comfort and normalcy, where am I? And with that comes anxiety. 60. Then it dawns on your confused self that you hardly know how to get out of this zone. You have no control over this experience. Any surprise then that you feel helpless? And with all that, fear sets in and you, very likely, panic with planned astral projection. The converse happens, which is, say excitement, you plan to carry your spiritual body out and you succeed. How can you not be excited? Not enough. Add joy, of course. Where your spiritual body goes is where you meet spiritual beings that you care about. That must bring you joy. Then ecstasy, oh yes. The feeling is like no other. You are a flying mammal, defying the laws of nature as you know them, yet you get to resume your normal life within no time. How can you not be ecstatic about such an accomplishment? And all you have seen it in the movies, but now you get to do it. Traverse horizons in minutes. And you get to wonder, did I do that? And summarize that with a whole sense of well-being. And that great experience is mostly because you are confident you are in full control of your situation. You have seen how possible it is to manage your astral travels, from venturing nearby as a novice to traversing vast lands when you have become a seasoned astral traveler. You have also seen that you can have a clue of a pending incident before it actually happens. Just 61. Through astral projection. Does that not make it easier for you to manage your life, prepare yourself for eventualities, and allay unnecessary fears? How about sharpening your concentration skills? That is good too, in fact. Great for everything that you focus on. 62. Chapter 12. Rumor has it astral projection is risky. Is it? Do you always abandon any project that has a risk involved? Of course not. What part of earthly life has no risk anyway? When you take medication, for instance, you have got the risk of those binding elements turning against your body. When you love, you take the risk of getting your heart broken. When you travel, sober as a monk, you still run the risk of getting bumped into by a reckless drunk. Therefore, really, life is about taking risks. Of course, that does not make it reasonable to lead a reckless life. No, the reason there is something called due diligence. Reading through this book on astral projection, and more complex ones written by experts, is part of your due diligence as far as astral travel is concerned. You get to have the true picture of what happens during your astral travel. You also get to understand if there are any risks involved by having your astral body leave your physical existence, and how to protect yourself against such risks. Straightening out the rumors. You can suffer consequences if you are not spiritual and you go on astral travel. Really, that is an exaggeration. You do not need to be a monk, a psychic, or such other individual with great spiritual beliefs to succeed in astral projection. By the same token, you're not trespassing on anyone's holy ground by practicing astral projection, whoever you are. So you run no risk at all of any consequences, physical, spiritual, or otherwise. Right now, if you were to recall what you read here before about the 7 planes that you exist in, you will realize that, like every other individual, you have the astral plane as a matter of nature. 63. You can go nuts during astral projection. Rest assured that astral projection does not interfere with your mental faculties. However, considering that it calls for very intense concentration and all this is a function of the mind, it may not be advisable to go on an astral travel if you already have known mental weaknesses. The problem might be exacerbated. Demons will take over your body when your spirit is gone on astral travel. First and foremost, your physical body is never entirely free of your spirit by virtue of having the silver cord fully functional at all times. And as you know, astral travel is not limited by time. So if your astral body needs to resume its place in your physical body, it can do so in a flash of a second. In any case, are demons not spirits? How then can a demon attach itself to your physical body when it cannot access your spirit? In other words, if you believe your spirit is all gone to the astral plane, then you might as well believe there is nothing within your body on which any evil spirit can attach itself. However, if you are so intimidated by possibilities of the devil invading you during astral projection, you can preempt the dangers and put yourself at ease by calling on the divine, God, the angels, your deities, to take charge while you take your astral body out. That way you will satisfy yourself that you are fully protected and will not be distracted when trying to project to the higher plane. Placing a spiritual symbol in a place you can see it. Such a symbol will serve as your reminder that there is nothing to fear, that you are protected. Remember, any fear you may harbor only serves as a block in your attempt at astral travel. 64. Surround yourself, mentally, that is, with a white glowing light. That creates a ring beyond which no evil spirit can penetrate. Keep your spiritual vibrations high and intense. That way, you will be confident that any bad spirit hovering about will be conscious of the stronger vibrations and know it does not stand a chance when it comes to your power and intensity. You run the risk of dying during astral projection. No way. Whether you are sleeping, seated, dreaming, studying, or otherwise, the chance of dying remains the same. So the very act of venturing on astral travel does not increase or decrease your chances of dying. Your astral body may enter a different body. Is that really possible? What is that other body that does not have its own astral body and is ready to receive yours? And even if there are other people taking on astral travels at the same instance as yourself, your different astral bodies can only meet at a spiritual level, and then each goes its own way. Then when it is time to return to their respective habitats, every astral body re-enters its own physical body. Do not even imagine your astral body getting lost midway or failing to locate you. That does not happen. Just think about this. The mortal being that you are, can you imagine yourself knocking on a door across the street, having confused your home, even if you had flown abroad and stayed out for a week or even a complete year? What reason would then lead you to imagine even for a moment that your own astral body, which in any case operates at a spiritual level, would lose its way? In short, the rumors of dying, getting possessed, and all are just that, rumors. And they can cause you unnecessary fear if you do not discard them as worthless as they are. If you do not ignore them, they may deprive you of 65. The great opportunity to experience the world beyond the one we see with our naked eyes, the experience that ends up giving your current life more meaning. The practice of going on astral travels keeps reinforcing in you the truth about continuity of life after the expiry of the current life in its physical form. That means you do not get bogged down with materialism and other vain pursuits, but instead choose to live a comfortable life with higher values that are driven by spiritualism and intellectualism. 66. Chapter 13. Is the astral plane heavenly, or does danger loom? If you thought for a moment there was a place like heaven or utopia, you would be advised to tone down your expectations. In this world, for example, even when things are so rosy for you and it appears like every being in the world is vouching for you in whatever you do, there is always that evil one who wishes you would trip and fall nose first. It is not any different in the otherwise peaceful world of the astral spirits. Is that to insinuate that the astral plane is too dangerous a place to venture into? Well, that is not the insinuation. In fact, you may be lucky to meet with an angel or two in one of your astral travels. But do not hold your hopes too high. Angels, together with their counterparts of higher nature, do not mingle randomly on the astral plane. They have their higher planes to dwell in. Nevertheless, they still have the ability to traverse all planes, including the physical one, where they sometimes lead the spirit of a loved one to put you at peace. So is the astral plane safe or not? The reality is that the astral plane is much safer than this world you live in. Practically speaking, many beings there are passive. They do not care whether you are there or not, or even if you are an old dweller there, or just an adventurous astral projector. They just go about their business as if you were some piece of beacon along the road, or some piece of flying leaf whose movement is of no consequence to anyone. But then again, just like in this world where you find a drainfly entering your eye inadvertently, there are those lower beings in the astral plane you can cross paths with and you find them a nuisance. When it comes to astral bodies like you, there is really nothing to worry about considering that sum. 67. Of them may not even know that they have left their physical world, still thinking they are in dreamland. And even for those who have instigated their own astral travels, they are just as eager as you are to explore what they can before they resume their usual existence, and so they would not give you their time of day. Those you need to beware of are those astral beings with predatory tendencies. They may not be the astral beings that you encounter on every visit, but you need to have special skills and special tools to keep yourself safe from them. Here are some manageable tips from seasoned astral projectors. Avoidance. In some African cultures, they say avoiding danger is not a sign of cowardice. And the English speak of living to fight another day. Surely you must see the wisdom in the whole premise. And the issue of fighting on the astral plane. Even when you win, you end up being drained of your precious energy in a way that takes a toll on you when you re-enter your physical body. In short, you could feel too incapacitated to perform your routine duties after a session of fighting on the astral plane. In case you see that dangerous astral being in the initial stages of your astral projection, cut short your travel and resume your normal existence, and immediately put on a light. That astral being will disappear from your sight and will, very likely, be too scared of making a return visit. By your actions, you will have eliminated the chance of you meeting face to face with the threatening astral being, and you can then choose when to go on the astral travel. Just be assured that such astral beings do not hang around for long. They are eager to go catch unsuspecting victims. Evasion. Why fight with a flying pest, a fly, or even, say, a bee, just for example, even when you are comfortably seated in your balcony in your physical? 68. Existence, you sometimes find a bee flying around, possibly attracted by the honey on your slices of bread, but you do not go for a can of killer spray immediately or even a fly whisk. Sometimes you just duck and clear your table if you were through with your breakfast or your snack and then resume your seat. And sometimes you just decide to relocate indoors. Can you visualize how scarred those people who are prone to fights appear, irrespective of the many fights they may have won? Why not spare your astral energy for something worthwhile, like exploring distances across oceans or over mountains? What you do when you encounter those nuisance astral beings that are commonplace is raising your vibrations. Chances are that you will create a distance between them and yourself by having vibrations higher than theirs, and so you will be safe from them. Here, you have simply evaded them and spared the energies you could have spent fighting those astral beings. And with more energy you have, obviously, a chance of exploring deeper and also wider within the astral plane. Confrontation. It is not always you can succeed in avoiding or evading. In fact, there are times it is just advisable to pull up your sleeves and do a real battle. Even in this physical world, there are some dangers that are best fought than avoided. Just imagine ducking a snake in your sitting room and expecting to go to bed in the same house. How safe would you feel in your bedroom? Would you not rather you got rid of the snake one way or the other to ensure it is out of your premises? You can be confronted with a similar case while in your astral existence, where your best option is a fight. What you do is one of three options. Pull out your sword. Sword. Not one made of iron or steel. Remember, you are a spiritual being right now. It is a sword that you need to practice making before this kind of threat comes up. It is kind of a strong beam of energy, full of qualities that counter those of the dangerous astral being. And 69. Basically, why the astral being is dangerous is because it is full of anger, hate, and many other negative emotions. The instant you project the hateful being with a strong beaming light of love and courage, the astral beast cannot withstand it. In fact, your energies will, very likely, end up decimating the negative energies of your astral adversary and rendering it harmless. Encircle yourself with a strong light. This is the kind of beam through which no evil spirit can penetrate. You create this shield in the same manner as your sword, consolidating your energies and using them to build a ring around you. What happens is that any negative energy the astral beast projects your way ends up bouncing off your protective ring. So you remain safe and sound and ready to proceed with your astral exploration. Make an outright attack. Instead of waiting for your astral enemy to threaten you, go all out to attack it with your energies of love, courage, determination, and all the authority you can muster. If you have a battle cry ready, and you need to have one, let it ring loud and clear. That show of boldness and determination to protect your existence in the astral arena is enough to keep off the astral being, if not decimate its powers. And for goodness sake, do not attack and run. That is bound to embolden the beast and have it follow you as you try to re-enter your physical body. So fight it until you are certain you are safe. And how do you tell that you are safe from beast you have been fighting? You realize it has disappeared from your sight. You do not feel it trying to tug at your astral being. You cannot sense its energy anymore anywhere near you. Beseeching. 70. There are situations, even in the earthly existence, when you declare jokes aside. That is when the danger before you is real and you can foresee a vicious fight in the offing. This is a scenario where you cannot afford your trial and error techniques, times when you outright go for your phone and dial 911 if you are in the US, 999 in the UK, and 112 in most of the European countries in the EU. Why? Why not? You are calling for reinforcement, for emergency help. You need it lest you get vanquished by the enemy. When you find yourself in similar dangerous situations out in the astral sphere, do not leave yourself exposed. You should be able to assess when raising your vibrations or creating a beam of light around you are futile moves. And you need not waste your time pulling out a sword you are sure is bound to be ineffective. There are powers you can call upon and you need to be familiar with them. They are, obviously, of a spiritual nature, and so arriving where you need them is a matter of a flash. These powers include any spiritual power that is higher than you are, whose vibrations are much higher than yours. This could be an ascended master. It could also be the divine source, the Almighty. And it could also be an angel, just in case you spot one. In fact, angels are hardly very far off from you in your astral travels. They have this tendency of watching you from a distance and sometimes even observe as you do your battles with other spiritual beings. But any time they see you on the verge of being overpowered, they step in and rescue you, just the same way a referee does when you are throwing punches at each other in a boxing ring. But for the love of survival, let your spiritual guides be. Calling on them for assistance is like calling on your uncle who had been swimming alongside you to rescue you from the jaws of a crocodile. Would he really save you or get himself eaten as well? Be well behaved. Surely you cannot go poking other people in the eyes and expect to be treated with courtesy. What we are saying here is that you also have the capacity to provoke other beings either out of mischief or carelessness. Avoid both. Be gentle and careful as you move around and avoid stirring. 71. Cool waters or meddling with the habitat of other spiritual entities, whether they are swamps or bushes. Is it not enough to move within clear areas and make your observations? If you meet other spiritual entities with similar vibrations as yourself and they need some relationship, well and good. Just be courteous to all and sundry, and life in the astral arena is likely to be smooth. 72. Chapter 14. Have scientists at last seen the astral light? What is science, if you were to answer that? Let us go by the general definition that puts science as the study of the activities of the physical and natural world at an intellectual and also practical level. This study takes place primarily through the act of observation and also experiment. And how can you explain things astral in simple terms? Well, they're to do with the non-physical realm of being, the paranormal, the psychic. And why would anyone then be surprised that scientists have been kind of dismissive of astral projection